You thinking that your insurance is actually going to pay for the pregnancy?
Yeah, it pays. It pays for that's what I was going to say. So she goes tomorrow, and we go in, and I don't even give much thought to like what it costs because she gets these.
Because you're rich.
Yeah. Especially relative to that chart you sent me. My goodness,
man, I know,
if you live
right?
in America, you're rich.
I know.
Good grief! But I was going to say MRI. It's not an MRI with ultrasound. When they do the ultrasounds, thousands of dollars every time. If you had to just incur that bill.
Wow.
But for some people, the costs aren't covered at all by the insurance, and there's women that are finding that out.
Right.
All throughout the country. What they're finding out is that so young couples are getting married.
Mm-hmm.
I think you did this. I did this. You get married when you come out of school.
Sure.
Well, now you can stay on your parents' insurance plan until you're 26 years old.
Right. Regardless of marital status.
Regardless of marital status. Right. So
I didn't know that until not too long ago. I thought if you got married, but no, you can stay on the plan.
Yeah, I obviously didn't keep up with it either because I was thinking if you weren't in school, you couldn't.
Right.
That changed. And so you could be out of school, married, and on your parents' plan. So it makes sense for a lot of young couples to stay on your parents' plan until you're 26 years old.
Sure.
But what people are finding out now is I think the average age of a woman's first pregnancy, the average age that they are is 26.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if it's a bell curve,
That's
you're going to
average.
That's an average, right? You're going to have a lot that are younger.
That's right.
A lot that are older. But my niece is 19 and she's pregnant. So I mean, it happens for sure. What they're finding out is that a lot of these plans don't cover maternity costs for dependents.
Correct.
For adult dependents.
Right.
So if you're on a plan, you're
for child dependents?
Well, that was the thing. That's a logical question, right? What constitutes an adult on the policy? And if a child gets pregnant, do they cover it?
Yeah.
So what I saw was that the plans don't cover adult dependents maternity costs.
Gotcha.
So in this one case, there's this girl that went to the doctor. She got pregnant. She's on her parents' plan.
Yeah.
That's great. Glad we have insurance.
Right.
Went to the very first prenatal. That's what they call it. The very first prenatal screening.
Right.
$4,000 bill.
Oh my gosh.
We don't cover that. Insurance doesn't cover that. Their policy specifically didn't cover it. I mean, I can't imagine because if there's anything wrong, you have to go in for weekly scans.
Right. And see, I've had some of these conversations about where that kind of decision's made at the employer level. So the employer's going, they're looking at this, and you think about, what are they called? They're called benefits, called employee benefits. And so this ends up in a conversation that you will have with the CFO and stuff, and they're looking at where their costs are going, like how they might design their plans. And so that you want to offer something to employees. And so the second level of question is, okay, we have to help the employees with their family, their spouse, and their kids. But I mean, I kind of get it, like to go, okay, now wait a minute. Now your kids are on your plan still. It's a grown person.
Right.
It's a 25-year-old grown person or a 22-year-old grown person. And they're going to get married. They could have a job. They could be on their spouse's plan or whatever. And then they get pregnant. Now I have the premature baby of the child of my employee. It's like, at what level does it end?
Imagine if you're self-funded and you're having to track those claims.
Right.
Like there's a dependent of this employee.
Right.
That has,
that's a real thing that happens.
That's a huge cost.
Oh my gosh, it can be.
Preterm delivery.
Oh
and
God,
then,
yes.
And then a stint in the ICU for that baby.
Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oh man.
Yeah, and guess what? If anything's wrong with that baby, and
chronically,
I guess the baby wouldn't be on. I don't know. I have to think about that with the pregnancy. With the baby itself, because the baby itself, you wouldn't be a grandparent. Like you wouldn't be able to cover your grandchildren unless you were the guardian. There's probably a limit on that. But still, you start back up. You go, well, wait a minute. So my employees, 20-something-year-old kids get married, and then they get pregnant, and as an employer, I had to pay for that too.
Yeah.
So I get it. Why they don't. But if they're doing that, they need to make sure they communicated it well. But just because you communicated it well doesn't mean anybody listened.
Yeah. So the stats are that there's 4.2 females that are in the age range. 4.2 million females in the age range of say 18 to 26.
Right.
That's childbearing age.
Right.
that could be susceptible to this. I guess it depends on the policy, the carrier, all that kind of stuff. So there's millions of people, and I couldn't help but think, if that's the case, that could have been averted by someone coming out to them and saying, hey, here are the costs you're going to incur. Like if there was transparency.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Like if there was, which we're not going to get on that again, but I mean, we've talked about it every podcast.
Right.
About the healthcare transparency.
Yeah, exactly.
That could have helped there. Or she could have gone to the exchange. If money was an issue, which it obviously was, she could have gone to the exchange. She could have filed a separate tax, qualified subsidy.
Right.
And guarantee you she would have had.
You own a company that would probably be willing to do that ACA reporting.
Exactly right. Exactly right. We'll create the actual tax forms.
We'll do it for 3 times the normal cost too.
Exactly. Exactly. 3 times the normal cost, just so you know the quality is right where it needs to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so I was looking at that. I couldn't help but look at that article. I was reading that article.